All right. Okay, aloha and welcome everyone to this live webcast today. I'm just checking to see if this recording is going right. It looks funny to me. In any case, aloha, welcome. And we're here on the 7th of June, which is the first Saturday. It seems like June has been going on for quite a while. Have our opportunities for mastery here. And I'm so grateful to have all of you here with me today. And we look forward to sharing with everyone else on the replay. So this is the Heart to Spirit Connections webcast, and it's a monthly webcast expanding our heart's connection with spiritual guidance to heal and to feel the balance on all four bodies: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And together we're discovering new levels of self-love using the tools of ancient Lemurian wisdom, including signature cell healing, the 10 principles of consciously creating, the goddess light, and more. So today our topic is healing with your child self. And I'm not sure if you saw it or not, but on my website, KarinnaNielsen.com, there's a picture of two children playing in the water at Kailua Beach. So I captured that photo because that's my child self in that jumping in the water. So to make my child self happy, these days I go to the beach, and I get reminded of that by my child self often to say, "You haven't been recently." So sometimes our child self can be a taskmaster and remind us of things, but we know that it'll be for our highest good. So before we get into the topic today, I'd just like to start with a prayer. So everybody just center into your heart and take some deep breaths. Take 5 deep breaths and just feel the loving light of the Creator, the golden particles coming through your crown chakra and weaving through your pineal gland with a signature cell in the center of your head. And just feel it turn into white light as you draw it down into your heart space. And when you exhale, you allow that light to expand so that you can feel the loving presence of the Creator, your higher self, your child self, and all the guidance that is with you. Because we know that we come with an entourage of guidance factors that lead us through an incarnation here on earth. And we're so humbly grateful at this time of the great shift to continue to have the guidance of Kahu Fred Sterling and Master Guide Kiro, the energies of love that heralded the great shift on this planet and awakened the goddess energy in so many people. So we pray now to center in our hearts for this webcast today, Heart to Spirit Connections, knowing that as we move forward in this great shift in consciousness, we're doing it in love from our hearts. And so it is in love. Amen. Okay, so what a wonderful time it is. It's full on summer here in Hawaii, and lots of things going on. I have the opportunity on the week, actually later today, to go to my 50th high school reunion luau. I made it, and I had a friend telling me, she's going to, and she said, "Oh, I went to a party last night with a lot of the people in our class, and not everybody is walking in. Some are in wheelchairs, some are coming in with a walker." And I was like, I'm grateful to be walking into my reunion luau. And I think that's a tribute to signature cell healing, because it could very well have been me in the walk with the walker. But, folks, I'm feeling better every day, and I'm just continuing to take the steps, follow the breadcrumbs. There's always another thing in front of you on your path that leads you to where you need to be. And it's not the same for everyone. We all have our own journey, right? And you might look at other people and say, well, how come they're in a walker? How come they're on a wheelchair? Everybody has a journey. There's no right or wrong. I would never put myself in judgment of somebody else's journey. I think the most important thing that we can do is just to light them up with our love and pray that they find the highlights of their path to move forward through the lesson plans that we all bring in. And that's about the pineal gland with the signature cell. That's why we call it signature cell healing. That Fred Sterling gave it that name because in the pineal gland is that blueprint in the signature cell that has the blueprint for all of our life plans, and also our child self memories are in there as well. And what doesn't fit in the blueprint gets an overflow into the thymus gland here in the top center of our chest. So that's why we talk about the child self memories, the healing potentials of all of our memories from when we were younger that we still carry with us now. And many of those might be repetitive from other lifetimes. And we're bringing them forth now because why? Because this, for many of us, is our last time on earth. Yes, you heard that right. You are here for the last time. And that's why it might feel especially intense and things coming at you really, and you just feel like, oh, this is so difficult, or, why does this have to be like this? We planned it out and we wanted to get everything done uh, so we don't have to come back again and do another human journey. We can do other things. We can go and be an angel, or we can be a guide, or we can go into other planetary systems. And, just while I'm into that, the depths of that, I just want to say that today might be a day when you hear things that you're thinking, well, that's pretty far out, Karinna. you know, I don't know about that. So just take a breath, don't worry about it. Just, take in what you feel, resonates with you right now, and then just let the other stuff go. And you can always come back on the replay and say, what did she say about that? I don't know, that doesn't sound so weird anymore. And that's such really interesting thing. We have these, just a short note, we have some visitors here from Europe, German speaking people from, and we, you know, in the old days, early in the 2000s, I was the managing partner of the publishing company called Lightways Publishing, which published all the books by Fred Sterling and Master Guide Carol. And we also did foreign language books. And the first foreign language books that we did were in German. And so in my decluttering phase that I'm going through now here in my home, it's really, there's a lot, and it's all consuming. But what I came across were all of the foreign language books that I had received copies of because we were the publisher in the English. So the foreign publishers, had a deal where they sent us 5 or 6 or maybe even 10 books in that new language. And so I found my German books, and I had multiple copies, and I was happy to share with these people that are here now so they could read. It's not all the books. I think it was the Carol the Great Shift and 10 Principles were back there, and also Guide to the Unseen Self. Those were the early books. And our friend is reading it, and he's just coming to me and saying, Kahu said this, and really it's Master Carol that said it, but I'm not going to correct him. Whatever works, right? They said this and this and this, and I'm listening to him and I'm going, yeah, those are really important things. And he's just beginning his spiritual journey, so it fits in perfectly with, what he wants to explore right now. And he's doing it in his own language, and I'm so grateful for that I can pass them on now to the people that could really get inspired by this great wisdom. And all of them, most of you here are English speakers, right? But they were really translated into multiple international languages. And you can still find them in English at signaturecellhealing.com in the shop, all of them, and including this one over here, Signature Cell Healing, which is the ebook now. So the hard copy is out of print, but the ebook is still there. And this really great wisdom for our time. And in we're going to go into that in just a moment, into the more about the child self, which is written about in the Signature Cell Healing ebook. I just wanted to say that, we have everybody's muted, but you can raise your hand at any time to ask a question, or you can put it in the chat, no problem. And I'll just get to you when I take a breath. Anyway, so we're in the month of June, and we know that's the number 6, and that represents mastery. So I went into the the Genesis Matrix book, because in there it has a really nice treatment of the Lemurian numerology and mastery. So for us in the 6th month, the 6th month, this energy is a reminder that you are in control of your life. And as master of your own life, it is your time to leave nothing undone, complete all lessons, make masterful decisions to ascend to new levels of conscious awareness. Isn't that great? So that's kind of a weave from chapter 6 of that book, because it has numerology at the beginning of each of the chapters. And don't you feel that way too? Because things are coming up that are really challenging right now. And I'm not just talking about, stuff out there in the outside world, but in our personal lives, our relationships, where we live, what we want to do, what we want to complete in this lifetime, to understand that we are in control of it, and we don't have to give up that control to anybody. And for example, blame somebody for what's going on. No, we set it up. This is our lifetime and our mastery. And as soon as we take back that control, you're going to start to see options of what you can do about wherever you are, and how to move forward in love and take the steps forward. So it's a great time. And this Lemurian numerology, everyone watching, even on the replay, you all should know your Lemurian life path number, right? So mine is a 5, so we just had my month of May. But now we're in the 6, and this is the time of mastery. So if you've got a number 6 as your Lemurian life path number, you're on a mastery lifetime right now. And that might feel especially challenging, because this is the time where you really have to look at, yeah, I am a master of my own life. And sometimes that's challenged, right? In order for us to know. The important thing is to know what anything, to know. And that's the goddess light. That's the goddess light within us that says, I know. And nobody can take that away from you when you know. When you know the truth, when you know your truth, nobody can talk you out of it. Nobody can, quote unquote, gaslight you into believing something else. It's your truth. It's your knowing. So that's a really important part of this month as well, because it's a real mastery lesson plan. So, you can check out the Lemurian numerology in the books from Kahu and Kirill, or you can also, look on my website. It has an overview of the astrology, or you can get a Lemurian legacy reading with me, and you can read about that at KarinnaNielsen.com. Okay, so for this month's topic, we had a number of questions there to begin with. And one of them was, why is the child self so important in healing ourselves in the now? And, the part of the answer to that is it helps us to access the deepest parts of who we are and what is calling to be healed. So I have some, I see clients here in my healing room, my healing area of the home. And many of them walk in like their child self. I mean, if you look at them, you can see it on their face. Okay, this is this person's 7-year-old walking in here right now. And you can see sometimes we're like that. We have that wounding. We have that feeling like this just happened to me yesterday. This is my 7-year-old. This is my 9-year-old. For me, it would be my 13-year-old. You know, what is the time of our lives that we're working through to understand perhaps, the pain or upset, or, some people had just downright trauma at that time in their lives, and how can we understand that? How can we heal it? How can we forgive ourselves? And working with the child self is a beautiful way of doing it, because the child self is really only pure love. It's pure love. And so when you do a signature cell healing, or when you're healing yourself and your child self comes forth, that child self is really going to come forth in the greatest love it can for you. And if we know that, then it becomes easier to approach the child self, to work with the child self, and to understand, yeah, this was in my blueprint, and this is why I did it. This is why this happened. And you might not get it the very first time. I'm still working with my child self. You see, that picture of me going to the beach, I work with my child self all the time. Yeah, I even brought another picture. Here's another child self. Everybody see this? This is me as the football player. I don't know, what is that about? Maybe five. I had a 5-year-old when I was a sports nut, and loved to play sports, and really wanted to be a boy. I was a real tomboy. I wanted to be able to throw the football with my dad instead of my brother throwing the football with my dad. That wasn't fair. And then later, here's another one. And you might try and find a picture of your child self so you can kind of meditate with your. Here's another one. This is me on Kauai when I was about 10 years old. And my mom wrote on the back of this picture, "Girl Fisherman." This is at the old Cocoa Palms. And you used to be able to go there and, throw a line and pull out tilapia and throw them back because you don't eat them. But, well, some people do. But, knowing the child self, or even this one, how about this one? That's probably 2 years old. Probably. This is me at 2 years old, right? And so, always bringing what's needed to play. Okay, so, my point is, everybody, get in touch with your child self however you do it. And we're going to do it in a meditation a little bit later. But another question that we had was, what does the thymus gland have to do with healing and the child self? And we talked about that earlier, that's where the overflow from the blueprint in the signature cell, especially the child self memories, are here in the thymus gland. And if you do signature cell healing, and in the opening sequence, we activate the thymus gland, and that has the T cells, and it's an important part of the immune system. And just tapping it, we're doing that when we're activating the T cells in the, what is that, the second step of the opening sequence. And then when you're tapping the lymphatics later in the opening sequence, you're also, the second time you're tapping from the thymus on up to the shoulder. So there's a lot of activation of the thymus, and Kahu did that on purpose. I know he did, to get our child self active. And oftentimes when we begin to work with signature cell healing or other healing modalities too, that is what comes forth for us, is the child self. And you might not know it, but those memories from that part of your life may come forth for you. And signature cell healing is a beautiful modality because it helps us to understand that and to work with it. So another question was, which of your child selves is waiting to speak with you now? So I showed you some of my child selves. start to think about, who are your child selves? And when you do a meditation, I encourage you to do an automatic writing afterwards and really ask your child self, do you have a message for me? Or what would you like to tell me? Or I don't understand this part of my life. Can you help me to understand this? Or why did this happen? And just listen. Listen for the answer from your child self. You might not know, oh, is this 7-year old, is this a 5-year old? Maybe it's just a child self that comes forth and start to work with that child self to establish a new relationship. I think that's a really important thing because when I first started working with my child self, she wasn't very happy. she was kind of unhappy because I hadn't paid attention to her for maybe I don't know 30, 40 years and then all of a sudden I'm calling my child self. So let's be patient with our child selves, okay? When we first start working with them and they might come through with different levels of emotions or, you know, what do you, now you call me or, what do you want or something like that. Just be patient, give yourself time and start the journey with working with your child self because it never ends. I know Kahu throughout his life, excuse me, he was always working with his child self. You could tell, and sometimes he had the real joy in healing a really deep part. And if part of his life, if you've ever read about Kahu Fred and his journey, I think there's a lot about it in the Signature Cell Healing book, but also, on his website, which will be renewed pretty soon. I mean, within the year, we're going to have a new Carol.com website, but on there is still his biography. And we also have his biography on signaturecellhealing.com, where he had a series of 7 stepfathers. He was in an orphanage. I mean, he just had a really, really challenging childhood. And you never heard him complain. He always worked on healing that and getting a different perspective on, okay, why did that happen? Or, what can I discover from that? And I think what we do is we make our wounding our greatest healing, and it becomes our PowerPoint. So what we find to heal within ourselves, it's like when you break something and you fix it, that that part of what's broken becomes stronger because it got fixed. If you put in like an epoxy or something like that, it gets even stronger. So that's what I feel about the wounding that we have in our lives. The things that are so difficult, they become the steps that we walk on that lift us up into higher levels of understanding our lives. And I mean, for me, I understand now. I mean, why would I have come here for an easy life? I mean, we come here to do a journey, and we put all these things in our blueprint because we really want to have a challenging life. Can you believe that? We actually plan that out. And if you say, well, what about that person? They got all that money and they're a movie star and they got a really good life. Really? Do they? I mean, what we just see a certain aspect of their life. We don't really know what are their relationships like, or what was their childhood like. We don't know. Everybody comes with a journey. Trust me. There's no easy outs in this incarnation, right? So we come here to heal. I want to just read something quickly from um, Kahu Fred, which was written in the Signature Cell Healing book. And he said, when we speak of the child self in signature cell healing, we're referring to the self within you that still remembers that it is part of the creator essence in all of its fullness. Yet, in this tender state of innocence, the child may have experienced many times of upset, which now in the present time are seeking to be healed. We are not looking to literally go back in time and relive childhood memories, but to tap into the energy from that time that still exists within your cellular consciousness, which may have caused you pain and distress. This energy still exists in your child self in the present day. So that child self is not something separate from us, it's within us, right? And we're accessing it, that cellular memory from that part. And the cells within our body, the 70 trillion cells or so within our body, together they create a collective consciousness to be healed. And I just love that, because it's not that we're going back there to fix it. We're not going, we don't even have to go back. All we need to do is see what the child self brings forth for us and love the child self and release whatever is ready to be released. And there's no fixing. There's no going back. We stay here and just work with what comes up. I think it's great. So, some of you may be aware that the Honolulu Church of Light is closing, but in many of the church services that are still available on YouTube, the replays, and that's on Kahu Fred Sterling YouTube, you can find years and years and years of church services. In the ones in the last, say, maybe 5 years or 3 years, one of my goddess sisters, Jo-Anne Alohilani, who's a blue goddess, and she's a goddess coder. And the codes that she brings forth are so powerful. Now we have codes in the Signature Cell Healing book, healing codes. There are 9 codes of healing in the ebook that we work with in the workshop, Signature Cell Healing workshops. But these ones, I feel, go beyond that, because they are in the present time. They're in the now, and they're what we need in the now. So one of the first codes that she brought forth in the church services and made it public, let's put it that way, put it out to the world, and not just within, Goddess Light, was the thymus code. So I'm going to hold up the thymus code for you here. This is the thymus code. So if you want to, as you're looking at the replay or even now, you could take a screenshot of it, and you'll always have it when you need it, because this is the code that we're going to meditate with. This is called the thymus code, and it works with your child self, or it works with your thymus to bring forth the energies that are seeking healing. And it's a powerful code. I thought several times about bringing it forth, but I'm really grateful to Jo-Anne Alohilani for bringing forth this code. And she used it many times in those church services in meditations. And there's a lot of really wonderful meditations with Jo-Anne in the church services using that code and another code, which eventually we'll get to as well. So you want me to put it up again? Sandra's looking. Okay, you got it? Okay, so here's the thymus code. Okay. And you've seen it, you got a screenshot, it's not about, you have to do this, you don't have to do this. You have the knowing of this code now. You've seen it, right? And you can call it forth and just place your hand on your thymus and think to yourself, thymus code, and it'll just go right into your thymus. And I want to do that with you in meditation. Oh, very good. Okay, so we'll do that. Oh, that's perfect timing, Sandra, actually. Okay, Sandra reminds me that we didn't do the Lemurian prophecy card, and I want to do that. So here we have thank you, Sandra. Here we have the Lemurian prophecy cards, and if you did the most recent Signature Cell Healing online workshop, we actually went through the Lemurian prophecy cards, and it was so much fun. We learned about the meaning of the cards and did little readings. And this is something, just for benefit of those of you who are just new or whatever, I do this every morning. And I do it before I do my automatic writing after meditation. And this is a beautiful way to get guidance. And we're talking about heart to spirit connections, right? This is another way of connecting into your guidance. So I'm going to shuffle the cards 5 times because 5 is the number for love in Lemurian numerology. And there's a lot with 5 in signature cell healing. There's the breathing, there's all kinds of things. But we always shuffle 5 times. And then I ask everybody to send their energy into the card for today. Okay, thank you very much. And then I'm going to cut the cards and we're going to choose the Queen of Hearts. That's my favorite card. Okay, so this is the Queen is the goddess light, our divine feminine. And that is just so important right now in this great shift in consciousness because the goddess light is the energy that heralds the great shift in consciousness and guides the people to awaken the love within them. And the Lemurian prophecy cards, there are 4 suits in the deck, right? There's the spades is the spiritual, the clubs is the mental, the diamonds is the physical, and the hearts is the emotional body. So we're talking about awakening the feeling of the goddess light within us. And, you know, the goddess light is very important in working with the child self because we want to be present in our love and in our goddess light in order to work with this very tender, very deep part of who we are. And so I'm so grateful that Sandra asked for the card and also that the goddess came forth for us here. That's beautiful. So we're going to put her over there. And I'd like to do a short meditation with you. And so I'd just like everybody to just get very comfortable right now and just start to feel the presence of love surrounding you and just get comfortable and take some deep breaths. Close your eyes. Honor yourself, first of all, for taking the time to tune in today, whether live or on the replay, and focusing on your healing, on your child self, on your goddess love, on just being where you are in this very present time, what Master Guide Kirill calls the actuality of now. And feel the light surrounding you. Feel it come down through your crown chakra, golden particles, like a waterfall coming over your head and funneling, invited in through your crown chakra, through the pineal gland. And just breathe it in and breathe it all the way down into your heart chakra. And when you exhale, just feel the love from your heart expanding. And take another deep breath like that, golden particles. And as they enter your heart space, it turns into white light. And you just feel that expansion through your chest, up your shoulders, all through your body. Just feel that light just cleansing you and helping you to feel centered and balanced on the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies. And just feel yourself in the presence of love. And when you feel ready, take the thymus code and place your hand right on your thymus, which is, in the upper part center of your chest. And place the thymus code. I'll put it up here again. Place the thymus code in your thymus. Just allow it to weave in to the thymus and just know that this is a gentle healing and tenderly feel the love that comes forth for you now. So put your right palm there and perhaps your left palm on top, and just keep breathing. Feel the vibration of the code going through your palms and into the thymus, and just give yourself a moment to feel and just go deep within your thymus, deep into who you are, and just relax, 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 and allow whatever comes forth to come forth for you. And just know what it, even if nothing, you felt nothing happened here, just feel the love surrounding you. Know that whenever your child self comes forth, it's going to be perfect. Perhaps it's now, perhaps it's later. If your child self comes forth for you, just simply acknowledge it with your love and send perhaps a light from your heart to connect with your child self. Just give it plenty of time to reconnect with you, to come forth from your cellular consciousness, this beautiful energy of love that you are. And now begin to feel yourself come back into your physical body. Keep breathing and let the light come down through the spiritual, the mental, the emotional, and the physical. And slowly and gradually let yourself feel the seat below you. Thank your child self if the child self came forth for you. Thank the energies of who you are and your guidance for providing the energies in this meditation. And come back and join us in the webcast. Huh. Well, that can be that I could feel very. It's heart rendering, heart touching, heartfelt. For me, it's always such a tender moment. And if you shed a tear or two, felt like crying, that's really okay. And that's where a lot of the healing takes place, is when we get into the emotional body. And I'm so glad that the goddess light showed up in our Lemurian prophecy card to remind us about the power of love, to heal us and to allow parts of us to come forth that need to be healed. So anybody like to share, even in the chat, or anybody want to share what happened for you? If your child self came forth, if not, it's perfectly okay. It's a tender time, and I know it's really personal. If you have any questions coming forth from this, you can always email me at KarinnaNielsen.com. I'd really be happy to hear anybody's experiences. You can also on YouTube, when this goes on YouTube, you can put it in the comments, and be wonderful to find out more of what went on. Yeah. So yeah, go ahead, Wendy.
I really appreciate this session today, Karinna, because in my lifetime, I don't think I ever worked a lot with my child self or even understood what that entailed or how to even approach it. But of course, I have childhood memories. I really appreciate this. It opens a door for healing that I never really knew about. So thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome, Wendy. Yeah, I'm so happy that you feel that way. Um, some of us may have you think, well, I had a pretty good childhood. I had a joyful childhood. I had a lot of fun, and it's true. We did. We all. It's I think for me, it's what I choose to focus on. I can go back and remember. Oh yeah, my brother and I were fighting all the time, or whatever. But when I go back now, I focus on the joy of it, and if something does come up, like, oh wow, where'd that come from? Maybe somebody comes up in my life now, in the now, and that kind of makes me remember something that was difficult at that time, and it's just a reminder for me to something I need to focus on in my healing. And that's not something that ends the healing. We're always doing the healing. And people say, well, this is really great guy or this really smart lady, they're very spiritual, they know all this stuff and they're teaching this and that. We're all healing. If we're still here on earth, we're all healing. We go to the next level when we leave the earth plane. That's the opportunity. So we get it now, and go on to the next journey. Thank you for sharing that, Wendy. Yeah, because the things can come up because it's in our cellular consciousness, right? And we learn a lot about that in the signature cell healing workshops, that we are we are a cellular consciousness. Our bodies are a cellular consciousness. And when we do the breathing, the 5 breath self-healing meditation, we're activating the cellular consciousness, and the cells, which are primarily water, start to vibrate. And then that energy starts to come forth for us to pay attention to and heal it, right? Did you want to say something else, Wendy? I wasn't sure.
Mm,
Something to think about anyway.
think about it.
Yeah, and go in your meditations, and I say meditations because we all should be meditating at least twice a day, if not morning and evening before we go to bed, or morning and when we get up. Um, if not 3 times a day, just look for opportunities to just, put your hand there and think to yourself, thymus code, and put the thymus code in there. And for me, it doesn't end. There's always something new that's happening when I do the thymus code. And if you're a signature cell healer, I invite you to place, you know, let your healing know, okay, I'm going to be working with a thymus code in your thymus. You could say we're going to put in the thymus code, and let them know that the healing goes to the next level when you do that. So it's a wonderful time, and I'm so grateful to have everybody here today. I want to make some final announcements that tomorrow night, Sunday, June 8th, is the Global Healing Meditation for Mother Earth. And we do that where we are at 9 o'clock. It's usually 3 nights before the full moon, because we focus the energy on healing Mother Earth, and sometimes that the energies are reflected off of the moon, so we want to get it before we get into the full moon phase. 9 a.m. your local time, so wherever you are sorry, 9 p.m. 9 p.m. wherever you are, and there's information about it on my website, KarinnaNielsen.com, and that will take place like in a wave going around the earth. And we send our light in meditation to Diamond Head Crater, and that's where our energies gather. So, if you're like wondering, well, what the heck, what's that about? Go into meditation tomorrow night at 9 p.m. and send your awareness to the center of Diamond Head. And yes, it's a crater, right? We have visitors here, and they were looking at it, and they're going, that's a crater? Because they were looking at it from standing right next to it. They didn't realize you can go inside, right? So we don't go inside, but we send our light into the crater. And boy, It's pretty active in there when we do those meditations. I love it. Right, Mahinaku? Yeah, oh boy. So we have fun with that and see the levels of guidance that show up for you. And I feel the people from around the world that are participating. It's beautiful. And I also wanted to mention that if you are a signature cell healing workshop graduate or from one of Kahu's workshops or one of mine, you can join us, or I'd like to invite you to join us for the Signature Cell Healing Graduates Review class every third Saturday. And we gather and review signature cell healing techniques. We also go into, especially if it's been a while since you took the workshop, you can get up to date with the new techniques that Copper Fred Sterling brought forth before he left the earth plane in November 2022. So he brought a lot of things through before he moved into his guidance role for our great shift. And then our next Heart to Spirit Connections will be on Saturday, July 5th at 9 a.m. Hawaii. And this month of June, pay attention to your opportunities to master your healing journey. And you can do it with the child self. And we have the code now, and I hope that you all can experience this month some new level of mastery in your healing journey, and look forward to you sharing it with me next month on the 5th of July. So we're going to bring it to a close today, and I thank you all for being here live, and aloha to everybody on the recording. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you next month. Aloha.